Will Reinier the Ritter become champion? Firstly, we have to look at the next opponent he's facing in Anthony Hernandez. Stylistically, Anthony is a bad matchup for someone like RDR, but there is a path to victory for RDR, which I will get into shortly. But for now, let's focus on the wrestling. That's a major hole in RDR's game should he go up against other fellow good wrestlers in Anthony Hernandez and Khamzat Chimaev, who's the current champion. Now, when it comes to Anthony, he's probably an easier fight for RDR than Khamzat because Khamzat is just freaking Khamzat. Anthony's still a tough matchup nonetheless. I say this because when RDR tried to wrestle Rob, he really struggled. I think he only completed 2 out of 15 takedown attempts. He was getting stuffed over and over again. Rob's takedown defense is elite, and it's how he beat Yoel Romero twice. One of them was a controversial decision, but let's not talk about that right now. The sucky thing is that having good takedown defense might not really matter when you're going up against someone like RDR because he operates best in the clinch. His BJJ is pretty good. He racked up 2 submission wins in his first UFC fights, but against the highest level opponents, I don't think he'll be able to submit them. That being Rob, Kayo, Imavov, Trikis, Khamzat, but his clinch is so good that it's not going to matter because when he lands those knees, it's going to get you attention. That might have contributed to Rob gassing out in the later rounds, or at least so it appeared. And I have this theory that Anthony is weak to the body. I just can't prove it because it's only happened to him on a few occasions, one of which was against Roman Kopylov. He was hurt to the body in that fight. The other fighter, I can't remember their name for some reason, and it wasn't Bilal Muhammad, okay? But he was hurt to the body. And if RDR manages to land a number of knees on Anthony, who knows? It might just break him down. But that's theoretically because I think Anthony will probably be able to take down RDR. RDR is a good BJJ practitioner, a good clinch fighter, but his wrestling is not the best. He struggled to take down Robert Whitaker. Bo Nickel was actually the one who managed to take down RDR. But if the fight had went on any longer, I wonder if RDR would have attempted to take down Bo Nickel. And will Bo Nickel's NCAA wrestling translate well into MMA wrestling, knowing that he didn't do too well against RDR as well as Cody Brundage? But I still think the fact that he was able to take down RDR was very impressive. And part of me thinks that RDR wanted it to go to the ground because he trusts in his BJJ. I guess we'll never know, but what I do know is that Fluffy is probably going to be the one that's going to take down RDR. And if he does manage to do it, he's probably going to defend the submissions of RDR, control him, land some ground and pound. Maybe not as much as he did in his fight against Roman Dolidze because RDR is probably a better grappler than Roman Dolidze. But what I see most likely happening is Anthony Hernandez winning via unanimous decision, landing minimal ground and pound. I say minimal because anytime he faces a competent grappler, he isn't able to really pop off the way he did against Michel Pereira. If you remember Anthony's fight against Brendan Allen, he won that fight using control time only. He barely landed anything significant. The same thing happened when he went up against Roman Dolidze. Of course, that fight was a lot more violent. He definitely pieced up Roman on the feet and on the ground. But even those ground and pound strikes he was landing weren't that fatal. It's not like the ones we saw Khamzat land against John Phillips. And I know John Phillips is not as good as someone like Roman Dolidze, but my point is, I don't see Anthony beating the brakes off of RDR for 5 rounds straight. That is if the fight is 5 rounds, which it most probably will be, knowing that they're so highly ranked. Anyway, let me know what your prediction is in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe.